9:04. It's been a very busy week so far at the Cadena Reeves Justice Center with several big trials taking place all at once.
And here to give us a court roundup is our court reporter, Erica Hernandez. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Hi, Erica. First, let's begin with the big trial that you've been covering wall to wall. That came to an end late yesterday. Juan David Ortiz found guilty. Were you surprised by the outcome of this one?
I don't think I was so much surprised by the outcome. I think we were a little surprised at how long it took. It was about 5 hours that the jury deliberated in this case. And I don't know, I think most of us thought maybe an hour, 2 hours tops. But it just showed that the jury really took their time because it was a long charge that they had to consider. Not only was it the capital murder charge, but if they wanted to, they could have decided on a lesser charge of just murder. So it kind of gives you at least some relief that these jurors are taking their jobs seriously and considering all the options.
And, after the families of the victims were able to face Ortiz, tell us a little bit about what they actually said to him.
There was about 7 to 9 of the victims' family members that were up. Remember, it was 4 victims, so there was a lot of family. It was very intense because there was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of anger that was, aimed at him, rightfully so. These, they have 4 years for these families to think of what they were going to say to this man. And the one that kind of got to all of us was the brother of Giselda Cantu. I didn't realize at the time until he said it, that's him right there behind her daughter, that their parents had been murdered too. And they were he's now the only surviving member of his family. And he was the one that actually asked the DA to take the death penalty off the table because he realized he had a family and he had kids and he had a mother and he didn't want them to suffer like they have been suffering. So yeah, very emotional testimony. You can see that all on our KSAT YouTube page right now.
All right, moving on to the other trial taking place yesterday. Trial began for Matthew Morellis, who's accused of killing a Bexar County Sheriff's canine. Briefly talk about all the charges he's facing.
There are numerous charges. So there is that charge of interference with a service dog, as well as 8 counts of aggravated assault against a peace officer. So there is a lot at stake here in this case. If you remember, this was back, I believe, in 2019, where that chase took place in Karnes County and then ended here. I think it was off 410 area where that whole incident happened. So yeah, this is another high-profile case that has a lot of attention. I know Garrett was there yesterday for opening statements, and it's one we're going to continue to follow as it plays out in the courtroom.
And so 2 more trials to talk about. Can you give a quick recap on what was going on the Richard Montes capital murder trial and Ruth Ann Comer solicitation capital murder trial? So
Richard Montes is a case we've also been following around since it happened. He is accused of killing I believe, 61-year-old man and a teenager. There was a lot of backstory with this case only because his charges had been dropped recently, earlier this year, till he can be re-indicted. When he was re-indicted, he couldn't be found because he had been released from jail. So it took a while for them to find him. They finally found him in Karnes County. His trial started last week, that capital murder trial. It is a non-death case, which means the death penalty is not on the table. If found guilty, automatically life without parole. It should be in the final stages. They should be wrapping up this case this week as well. And Ruth Ann Comer, yes, that is a solicitation, which means she is accused of trying to hire somebody to kill her son and her son's wife. This is another story with a lot of backstory in it. We have the full article on KSAT.com right now. Ruth Ann is about 68, 69 years old. She tried to have these charges dismissed back in 2019, saying that she was incompetent to stand trial. The judge did rule she was competent, so that's why we're in this trial now. This is also capital solicitation, capital murder, so she could be facing a lot of time if she's found guilty.
You said the docket was going to get real busy at the end of the year, and here we are.
Yeah, it's like when it rains, it pours, and I think a lot of the judges are really trying to wrap up a lot of these cases before they go on vacation for the Christmas break. So we'll just pick back up in January, and of course the next big wall-to-wall coverage of a trial will be Andre McDonald in January.
Yeah. We'll be watching you closely for that one.
We'll be busy.
Thank you, Erica.
Thanks, guys.
Keep up to date with all of San Antonio's top news, weather, and so much more by clicking the like and subscribe buttons below. And once again, thanks for watching KSAT.